fresh new emails shed new light on that tarmac meeting between then Attorney General Loretta Lynch and former President Bill Clinton during last year's campaign when the FBI was investigating Hillary Clinton's email server. The redacted emails show the FBI, under Director James Comey, misled the American Center for Law and Justice when it said it did not have any further records about the FBI's response to that meeting, indicating apparently it was a non-issue. But the new emails show it was very much an issue. The emails show Lynch's Justice Department and the FBI were very worried. These emails between Justice and the FBI discussed talking points to deal with the fallout of that meeting, as well as deep concern about the media's coverage of Lynch's meeting with Clinton at places like ABC, CBS, Fox News, The Washington Post, and The New York Times. Moreover, there are emails showing the mainstream media downplaying the story with their bosses in emails to the Justice Department, seemingly to curry favor with the government. We have this. A Washington Post reporter emailed the Justice Department saying, quote, "I'm hoping I can put it," meaning the story, "to rest." And a New York Times reporter emailed the Department of Justice that he was being, quote, "pressed into service" to cover the story. Joining me now, attorney for the American Center for Law and Justice, he's Jordan Sekulow. Good to see you, Jordan.
Good to see you, Liz.
How concerning is this, these new batch of emails about the Justice Department and the FBI dealing with this controversy?
Very, because it starts with a document that we received when we filed the FOIA request. Before we had to go to court to compel these documents, we filed a FOIA request with the Department of Justice and the FBI about 2 weeks after this meeting on the tarmac. And I got in my hands right now the response from the FBI, and the FBI said, hey, we did the search. They were kind of going back and forth with us for a couple months, and we found nothing. Well, then in today and yesterday's document release, if you go through there, you'll see FBI officials. Not only will you see FBI officials on the emails and actually with records, but you'll actually see places in these 413 pages where it was the FBI redacting information from us. So they were very much involved. So they started the whole process off by saying there was nothing. Then they started redacting things when there was something. And this was all happening, remember, under the tenure of James Comey. Ultimately, these documents get released. And as you pointed out, Liz, not only is it troubling to see how the Department of Justice was really just concerned about how do we respond to this. This was at a time when they were worried that the media was really going to glam on. They said, oh, you know, it'll just be Fox, maybe CBS for a few lines, because you see those Washington Post reporters and those New York Times reporters just playing a game.
Yeah, Jordan, you know, is there any indication in the documents that you've seen, these emails, that the FBI and the Justice Department knew ahead of time that Bill Clinton would meet with Loretta Lynch on the tarmac? Because it was being played like it was an accident.
Yeah, there's a question there. Is that so? You've got the Department of Justice. Their first response to some of the people was, this wasn't planned. But then there is an email within these documents that talks about their security teams. That's the headline, and we don't get the text. But the headline is their security teams coordinating. So there, at some point, and it may have been very close, Liz, I don't want to ever go too far than what the documents tell me. At some point, they were being questioned and having to figure out were the security teams of Loretta Lynch coordinating with the Secret Service protection that former President Bill Clinton receives. So that is very real. We're not done here. At the ACLJ, we're actually going to look for, because these redactions, I've got some, just to show people, what they redacted here were we have pages and pages like this and the headline is talking points for Attorney General's media availability. Why would you redact the talking points? What we figured out going through this timeline-wise, Liz, is that they redacted that because she ultimately only had to do about one press conference on this issue, and they even say it's really just Fox News and covering it, and they've handled ABC and they've handled CBS, and they got Washington Post.
And remember,
and New York
James Comey said he was concerned that he said Loretta Lynch wanted him and wanted everybody to call it a matter and not an investigation. Trying to tone it down, right? Jordan, final word. Yeah,
final word on this is that Jim Comey loved memos, and his team was involved in this. He even said under oath that this was the reason, one of the reasons why he took that bizarre action to announce the closure of the investigation on his own. I have a feeling that this is not the end of the documents, and we're going back to court to find out what the FBI may be hiding.
Okay, good to see you, Jordan. We love having you on. Come back soon.